Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Juliet, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. Before I pass it over to our speakers, let me cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your screen are multiple engagement tools you can use. All the tools are resizable and movable, so feel free to move them around to get the most out of your desktop space. You can expand your presentation area or maximize it to full screen by clicking on the arrows in the top right corner. If you have any audio or video issues, you can find answers to some common technical questions located in the help widget at the bottom of your screen. Please note that a copy of today's slide deck and additional resources are available in the resource list. Please have a look and download everything that you may find useful. Also, the webinar will be recorded and sent via the email you registered with. Lastly, if you have any questions during the presentation, you can submit them through the Q&A widget. We're here to answer you live via the chat, so don't hesitate to reach out. Now, I'd like to briefly introduce our speakers. Today, we are joined by Lianne Warford. Lianne has been a passionate business analyst for over 25 years, helping companies make better business decisions. Lianne's career began in 1997, assisting small to mid-range P&C insurance companies and implementing policy administration systems. In 2014, she founded LHW Consulting, working as a senior business analyst, specializing in insurance, finance, and accounting. Most recently, she has shifted her focus on enterprise-level work, driving innovation. We are also joined by Steven Meadows, Principal Solutions Lead at Jama Software. Steven primarily works with our customers in the financial services and insurance industries. He has been at Jama Software for a little over 3 years, focusing on building a solution that best fits industry needs. And with that, I'll pass it over to you, Steven.
Okay, so today we have a pretty packed agenda. We're going to be starting off, or Lianne's going to be talking about legacy insurance requirements management. Following that, we'll be talking about how you can overcome some of the common insurance industry challenges, some of the important considerations for streamlined insurance product development. After that, I'll be talking about the problem with legacy tools and insurance product development, followed by best practices for an effective development strategy. I'll then be providing a brief introduction to Jama Connect for insurance, a very high-level overview. And then finally, we'll end with a solution, key takeaways, and questions. Okay, and with that, Lianne, go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Steven, so much. I appreciate this opportunity to work with Jama. I want to get started today with talking about different scenarios, two main scenarios where requirements are needed in the insurance industry. So we have the policy administration systems that automate the day-to-day operations of an insurance company. And the second area is the new and enhanced insurance products and services that insurance companies want to undertake. So let's just dive right in. It's a lot of information, so let's get started. So from the policy administration system, while every insurance company is unique, processes that all insurance companies share for the day-to-day operations are quite common. And I'd venture to say that you would have to look long and hard to find an insurance company today that doesn't have some type of policy admin system, whether it be a homegrown system that they've done themselves or utilizing some other type of software vendor. So if you take a look at the areas that are common, you have your policy administration. So every insurance policy starts with a quote, and there's quite a bit of information that needs to be captured. You've got your insured name, address, and contact information, among others. You have information about the risk that's being insured, whether it's a house, a car, or business. And there are specific details for each types of risk that have to be captured to provide an accurate rate for the policy. You've got your coverages that are needed for each of the specific types of risks, like property damage and liability coverage. And there's lots of information that needs to be captured around that as well. And then once the policy is bound and issued, there's several different types of documents, such as declaration pages, rating sheets, etc., that have to be generated and are dependent on specific policy details. And while those requirements are related to the insured risk and coverages, there'll be an entirely different set of requirements for the output that describe the information about both the static and the variable data that's needed to be printed. So that's a ton of information right there if you haven't really captured it. We've just hit one bullet point under policy admin. So, and then you're always going to have the need to make a change to the policy at some point. And those are processed as endorsements. And while some of these requirements can be reused from the quote bind and issue process, there'll also be certain rules for different types of endorsements that'll need to be captured as separate requirements. And then you also have the output that's specific to those related endorsements. Again, more stuff. And then you also have the processes around your cancellations and reinstatements for underwriting reasons. And you're going to have documents that go along with that as well. All of those, have to have requirements for the related output and downstream effects as well. And then hopefully the insured's going to be happy with your service at your company, and they'll want to renew the policy for another term. So, yeah, there goes another set of specific requirements that are associated with the processing of the renewal as well as the output that's associated. So that's a big mouthful of information. But then the next step you've got to do is collect the money for the premium that's generated on the policy. So you gather requirements for down payments if you require them. You also provide payment plan options to allow them to pay in installments or all at one time. So there's lots of requirements around that. Then you also have special rules for non-payment of premium cancellations and reinstatements that are different from your underwriting cancellations and reinstatements, different set of requirements. And then you have to process refunds and collections. Again, and there's all types of outputs that go along with these processes as well that have to be documented. And then, of course, the big thing for an insurance company is your annual statement. That's your accounting for what insurance companies do. And so there's all kinds of requirements for your annual statement lines, and statistical reporting. Again, a ton of requirements. And then last but not least is your claims administration, which is the reason that you actually have insurance, right? So that if you need to make a claim. So you have your requirements around first notice of loss. And then there's a ton of information that they have to capture, lots of things that they have to do in that area as well. Come out and inspect, assign agents, all different types of processes for your claims. And then you ultimately want to make a payment to the insured when it's needed, and processing of reinsurance if your company handles reinsurance. So that's a mouthful of information and lots of requirements that maybe a lot of people don't think about when it comes to insurance day-to-day operations. And then when you move on to thinking about, the company wants to have new and enhanced insurance products and services. So you've got new products that you want to offer. You have new states and lines of business and coverages that you want to move into. And then if you want to enhance existing products, you've got rate changes, additional coverages you want to provide. And then there's all kinds of interfaces, ImageWrite, QuickRater, all types of interfaces into insurance policy admin systems that help integrate your business. And then not to mention, you've got to upgrade those existing interfaces because software is continuously evolving. And then as well, you have automation of processes such as ISO claim searches. And these are places where the insurance company wants to automate different types of processes that they do to be quicker and faster and in the new age of technology. And then last but not least, you've got the upgrade of your policy admin system that has to be maintained. And there you go through all of those requirements again. So as you can imagine, the details of all these processes are quite extensive, and documenting them can be quite a challenging task to manage. And that's why I always felt that insurance companies truly need a requirements management system if they're going to be able to respond to change. All right, so now let's talk about the evolution of BAs gathering, documenting, and reusing requirements in the insurance industry. And like I said before, the common thread to implementing a policy admin system is understanding the requirements that we just talked about of the core business processes. And you can split them up into business and stakeholder requirements, and those will be reusable in any system. Business requirements are the needs of the company, regardless if there's a system to process the work.